tug on the line. You can't believe its strength as the fight begins. You work hard and bring it over the side. Man, it feels good to reel this monster in. Colorado fishing adventures.
Alright everybody, welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you, the subscribers and new subscribers hopefully. But today I'm going to do a how-to modification to my kayak here. And this is the 10.5 Hobie. You can probably do it for just about any kayak here, but it's the LeverLoc Anchor Trolley system. So I'm going to kind of walk through this thing and get this thing all set up. So that way hopefully it'll help you to kind of put something on the Hobie or any of your other kayaks. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. All right, so before we kind of get it going into working on the kayak itself, you will be coming, it will come with all this stuff. So you're gonna have the cordage that you're gonna use. You basically, this is gonna be for the middle portion, so that way you can kind of lock it and unlock it. And then these two are gonna be the very ends to put in for the rope, so to create that the pulley system. And then these two are just middle ones, so that way it's not going to get stuck somewhere as you're going along here. It's just some extra spots that you're going to add to in between all the components that you have that you're putting on, which is this and these two, just so that way the line's going to be smooth and so on and so forth. So, and then you got basically 6 smaller screws, and then you have 4 bigger screws. And then we're going to get to that right now and show you what we're going to be doing on this portion. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to first start off with the front end here. Add this pulley portion, and you're going to want to put it not to where it's going to go under the water, but somewhere like right in here. So you want a flatter surface, so as far up as possible. So you're going to use an 1/8 inch drill bit. I'm going to put that in here. All right, pull that out. Now what I'm going to do is take the screw that I have here. That's going to go in there. My screwdriver set. Come right back with that one. And you're basically going to do this on both sides, both ends of the kayak, so that way you can get this thing all set up accordingly. I could probably use the electric drill, but I want to be a little bit more cautious, so that way I'm not going to strip anything as I go about it. So I am going to do it via hand and tighten it up that way. So let's put the first one in. Make sure we're in that area. All right, there we go. Kind of screw this thing in there. I want to get it fairly tight. I don't want to strip it, so we'll leave that one there. Next thing, I'm going to come back over here now. Kind of adjust that a little bit. Do the same thing on this side. This hole. And this one now, you're going to use one of the smaller ones. And the same exact process is going to go here. It's kind of what we just did over on the other side here. Same thing. Tighten this thing up. What you probably could do too, if you wanted to, is add some silicone. I may do that later on, but I think right now, it should be pretty much watertight from reading it and listening. So I got that one tightened up. So one down. Now what we're going to do is come over to the other end over here. Do the same thing. Add that towards as far back as I can. Again, same thing. So you're going to have it basically, what is that arrow portion looking? It's going to go towards the back end of it. So we're going to go, get it probably about there. Maybe in that area there, probably be good. Do the same thing. Just gonna do one of them. So I'll do this one here in the middle.
of the larger ones. Do the same thing that we did on the other side, the front end. Tighten this down for the most part. Right when you feel tension is probably when you want to stop. So right there, that feels pretty good. Take all that stuff out. Do the next one here. Alright, get one of those smaller ones. Add that in here. Same thing. Until you feel that it's tight enough. Don't strip it. You definitely don't want to strip it. So I think we got that there. So you got the two right now. And we will be continuing with the balance of this stuff here in a moment while I get everything else kind of ready, and we'll start into the second part of it. So, all right, next step that I have here is I got all the cordage here. What I'm going to need to do is put them through. So I'm going to come up and under on this part of the pulley. So you see it's going to come up, under, and then over. And then I'm going to bring this thing all the way around, down, and then through. So that way it's going to form a good loop as you're coming all the way down. Now, you will notice there's a lot of excess cordage that's going to be part of this. So you only need to use whatever that you feel that is going to be needed and required. So as I untangle this here, I am going to then kind of bring this thing down here a little bit, because pretty much, as you can see, it's going to go down at the start here. I want to be able to get something somewhere in this area, probably right down in here is where I'm going to add it, because I want it in easy sight for me, and this is basically the locking mechanism that's going to go there. So that's all going to go right here, and it's going to run through there. So I want to make sure that where I'm at, that I'm going to have enough. So it looks like we should be good, I'd say right in that area for now. Try and tie this up a little bit here, see if we can get this thing tightened up, just so that way it's not slipping all the way under. And as you can see, it's doing that at the moment. So let me redo this here. So I'll pull that back up. Again, you probably, there we go. So if we're doing this, just get a little bit of a knot going here, something to kind of tie this down for the short term while I'm getting everything else kind of set up. So let's see what we can do on this portion here. So I'm going to leave that like that, and then we're going to start screwing in some of the other stuff here. So you get this lined up here, plus the ones that are going to go in between here to keep it aligned. So, all right, now the next step that we're going to do here is find a good spot to put this under. I think up here it'd be too much kind of interference with this, so I'm putting it right below the line here, and then I am gonna, again, making sure, as you can see, I want to make sure that this thing will be able to move, which it is. So for the Hobies, and then I'm going to start, let's see here, so you got two, it's going to be two of the smaller ones that you're going to use here. So I am going to start screwing this thing in there. Do the same thing again with this hole. Put this in here. All right, one thing I did forget, my apologies, is that you actually have to put this line to go through here first. Okay, then that's got to be the top one, making sure that you've got the top line in there and not the bottom one. So we're going to do the same thing here again. Kind of get this thing started here and kind of tighten it up. Just enough there. And then I'm going to take this other part, the other screw, do the same thing. So right now, you got movement. This will then lock this line in here. So right now, like I say, this way you can move everything through. Okay, now what we're going to do is put these little tabs going in between basically this and the very back there. So that way it's going to keep this thing in position and out of the way of the lower cordage. So I'm going to put one over here, and I'm going to put one then towards the front end here too. So let's start with this one here first. Same thing. Screw this thing up to, there we go. Drill inside here. Take the screw. Okay, so let's do this. That one down. Try and get it, making sure they've just got it aligned. I'm now gonna unscrew it here a little bit and put that one back up through. Just want to see if it's gonna be good enough. Got that there. Just tight enough. Okay. And then what we'll do is do the same thing this side, the bottom. Screw. You get another, all these for these two here are going to be the smaller screws that you're going to need. Just tight enough, so that way it's going to be, you're going to have some movement in there. So, and then next one we'll do, we'll go over here and do the other side here. All right, now the last part, at least of this major portion, and then we'll get to the very last thing, which is going to be down here, which is where you're going to connect basically the two lines. But let's get this one. It's the same thing. Kind of going to go in between this middle piece and the end piece there. Kind of eighth. Yeah. 1/8 inch drill bit. Same thing still. Gonna then take this, pop this through, make sure, put the line going through, line that up accordingly. There we go. Right there. Whoops. Okay. Now we'll tighten in. Same as the others. Just enough tightness there. There we go. And then we'll do this other part. Let's see what I want to kind of get that thing lined up well enough there. There we go. Pull that excess out. Get that thing in there. Trying to find the right connection, right angle. Alright, and then of course you got the last one down here. Screw this thing in. Okay, now we've got basically all the stuff on the top here kind of set. Again, just making sure. Alright, so now that we got that, we got everything kind of working here where it needs to. That's in the lock position. This thing now is going to be able to move, kind of keep wherever it needs to be. The next step that I have to do here now is going to take this, undo the lines, and what you're going to do is actually take this through, then you're going to put a nice solid knot so that way it's not going to go anywhere. And this is where making sure it's really nice and tight. Push this down here a little bit. So there. So you're going to have everything kind of pretty good. And then what you're going to do here, of course, is going to be down in this section. So I'm going to take this here, pull it all the way through, do kind of what I did on the other side, and I want to see what length I want to be at. So take this, kind of picture where I want things to be tension wise, because I don't want it to be too low, but there's going to be some give every once in a while too. So so I'm looking at probably something like this. This will probably be pretty good. Probably need to pull that up, making sure everything's tight along both of these here, and see how that's going to lock in there. So that way when you're done, or when you don't want to use it, you can pull it out. So you put it, lift up and under, so now it's locked. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'll cut off this piece here, so that way I can do a little tie on it, and this thing will be pretty much ready to go. Hit the waterways. So you will have some extra cordage, but that's fine. But this way you're going to be all set to get to your kayak to be on the water. Buying an anchor system so that way you can, depending on how the wind is blowing, anchor yourself, because before I was just using this thing and that was not really safe for the waters that I was on, because locking it in here was just making things difficult and almost the point to where I was tipping over. So that's why I went to getting one of these things here. So this is it. I will show you the final product once I get this thing cut and tied up, and that's what I have for this portion of the video, and like I say, I'll finish that up here momentarily. Alright, so now we've got everything in place. You got the front here, so the pulley system's all set. You got this little latch, so what this is, if it comes up, it's going to stop and it's not going to interfere with this top one. I've got these tied off here, so I'll probably cut them off and then burn the ends just so that they won't interfere there too. And again, this thing here is a latch, so that way you're going to put your anchor system on here, lift up, now it's locked in, lift up, pull down, now you can move it back and forth. Got the same thing going down over here, and then the last one in the back here. So I've basically got mine all set now for the waters. Well, that'll do it for today, how this system works. Hopefully this will give some others some helpful insight on how to put one of these things on your kayak. Again, this is for the Hobie, but it can go for any type of kayak, and accordingly, so that way you can put an anchor attached onto it and not do something like I've done where it hooks under these things in the past, and that caused problems. So again, thank you for joining the channel again today. Hopefully again this is helpful, and if you can, please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell and the like, thumbs up with the like,
And there'll be more videos coming along as the season goes. So again, thanks for everybody for joining. Tight lines, and thanks for playing. See you soon.